Viewers, let's have a look at the case that halted the death penalty in Jamaica. In January of 1979, the House of Representatives voted by a narrow majority to retain capital punishment and unanimously recommended that all outstanding death sentences be reviewed. In February of that same year, the Senate passed a resolution recommending that executions be suspended another 18 months while another committee examined the issue in depth. Although this second committee, the Fraser Committee on Capital Punishment and Penal Reform, sat from June of 1979 to March of 1981, executions resumed in August of 1980. Up until 1992, a conviction for capital murder carried a mandatory or automatic death sentence. In that year, the Offences Against the Persons Act of 1992 was enacted. This meant that capital murder was committed in circumstances where specific persons were murdered, or murder was committed in furtherance of certain specific offenses or contract killings. So in short, capital punishment remains on the books in Jamaica, but may only apply in certain aggravated murder convictions. However, there has been no executions since that of murder convict Nathan Foster in 1988. This is largely due to the 1993 ruling of the UK-based Privy Council that it was inhumane to have a convict waiting for more than 5 years to be executed. The ruling was made in the infamous case of Earl Pratt and Ivan Morgan. Earl Pratt and Ivan Morgan both spent 14 years on death row awaiting execution. In recognition of the extreme mental anguish death row prisoners are subject to, their case established a legal precedent limiting the amount of time a person can be kept on the sentence of death. Pratt and Morgan were arrested on suspicion of murder in 1977. At their trial, the prosecution relied on the evidence of a single eyewitness, and the jury only took 2 minutes to convict. The pair were sentenced to death on January 15, 1979. Earl and Ivan were kept in virtual isolation, confined to separate cells measuring 6 feet by 6 for 23 hours a day. There was no furniture. A sheet of foam acted as bedding, and the toilet consisted of a bucket emptied once a day. During their 14 years on death row, Earl and Ivan were handed their death warrants on 3 different occasions, only to be granted a reprieve at the last minute. One time a reprieve was granted 45 minutes prior to their scheduled execution. The pair were subjected to mental trauma of being weighed and measured for coffins in preparation for their execution. Earl has described the experience of listening to the hangman make practice drops in preparation for his execution. Given the severe mental torment inflicted on the men during their prolonged period on death row, known as death row syndrome or death row phenomenon, it was argued that their death sentences could no longer be deemed constitutional. In its judgment delivered on November 1993, the Privy Council ruled that a period of more than 5 years delay in carrying out a death sentence constituted cruel and inhumane punishment and therefore violated Jamaica's constitution. In reaching its conclusion, the court referenced the historical context of the death penalty sentencing system inherited from the UK, where executions would be carried out speedily after sentence. The court accepted that death row syndrome was therefore a modern phenomenon which subjected the prisoner to an unintended extra element of punishment. Pratt and Morgan had been sentenced to death, not death plus years of mental torment on death row. As a result of the judgment, Pratt and Morgan were removed from death row and their death sentences were commuted to life imprisonment. While Earl was released in 2007 after he became eligible for parole, Ivan never saw freedom as he died in prison of natural causes in 1996, 3 years after the judgment. Though I am not certain when it was implemented, there was a moratorium placed on the death penalty, which was lifted in 2009. To my knowledge, there is currently no inmate on death row in Jamaica.
Teach them! Hey, yo, hello! Send the message and make it reach them. It's teach them. Right here, Warlord representing.
Thank you for watching. Like the video before you go. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. And remember to share the video with your friends and family. And browse the channel for more quality content. Until next time, walk good, my friends.
Teach them!